Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 152, I think. I think that's right. My name is Evan Lewis. I know that much. I'm, of course, joined by Leo Andry.
I wonder what episode number we'd be at if we counted all the non-numbered episodes, too.
Probably like 300?
At least 300. That's Joe Latovsky.
Is it?
And Kurt Larson.
This is actually...
it might not be Joe.
This is an AI voice.
Well, his camera's not turned on.
He did talk over Kurt, so we'll just assume that Joe is everybody today.
The AI that you're hearing right now has been, it learned that from all of the source footage or audio that we fed into it. Joe's off somewhere, and he set this bot up to do the episode for me.
Oh, see, I thought
this
you were going to say you're a beta unit. Joe's not here. Joe's off saving the galaxy, defending the galaxy against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Well, just like the real Joe, this AI version does not understand that reference.
Gosh. You're the worst, Joe.
No, it's okay.
He's sitting around watching, like the other week, you wasted your time watching Casablanca when you could have been watching The Last Starfighter. Man.
They're practically the same movie. Good question.
I can't remember where I watched it last.
Half of these, like, you can't believe you didn't see it movies aren't on any of the streaming services I pay for.
I'm at least glad that I'm not the one saying that anymore. I say that enough during the regular course of my day. You haven't seen this? Goal.
90% of Evan's everyday conversations and work conversations. I'm sorry, I didn't actually look at the documentation for this. You haven't seen this?
No, I don't. I always expect it to be on Disney Plus because part of the theme, the big anthem from Last Starfighter, is in the walkway in Soren. I don't know why it's at Soren and not Space Mountain, but that's the way it is.
It feels like it would be a Disney movie,
Yeah, except it's much more positive than things like Flight of the Navigator, which will torture you as a child. Speaking of being tortured, we're torturing our patrons right now because we haven't introduced them yet. They are joining us live.
Yeah, they're so petty. They clamor for attention.
I mean, I would too. If I was a patron, I'd be sitting here like, are they going to mention me or not?
Give us that validation.
Yeah, that's what the internet's about, getting validation.
It's what Twitch subs are like, aren't they?
Pretty much. That's my understanding. I don't know enough about
Twitch, but I think that's what you pay people on Twitch to say your name out loud, and then you feel special.
Yeah, and then they have a super chat so that they can say some words, and then you get some coins or something. I don't know how this works. What do you think I am, an internetician?
All of our patrons are like super chatters because we hear everything you say, and you could be talking to us right now as we record, and we would see that.
It's true, because
the flow of our episodes.
Yeah,
which are so finely tuned and scripted.
I do go through the first 5 minutes of every episode in my head for like a week before we do it, and then it never survives first contact with Joe.
At least he's blaming you instead of me this time, Joe.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like we must have turned some kind of corner. Yeah.
Yeah, Leo passed the torch to you. I haven't had a single flibbertigibbet out of him in months. But yeah, the patrons get to be with us and talk with us and tell us things via Discord, and then we can address them as we go along. And more often than not, they have intelligent things to say. I don't know why it came out sounding like a backhanded compliment, but you can also get backhanded 50% compliments
of the time.
At least they're like the bourbon of Discord. They're at least 51% good. And you can go to jodocast.com to find all of our links to get on the Discord. You don't even got to be a patron to get on every other channel, but there is a special JodoCast Plus channel that I think, what was it, JodoCast Max at one point or something like that?
Yeah, I
But
think it was
now-
also JodoCast Prime.
Yes, it was Prime, yeah. Now it's JodoCast Plus. Soon it'll be Plus Plus, like the Pokemon, the Pokeball Plus Plus that's coming out. But yeah, you can join us. There's other cool things you can do. You can help direct the future of this show. And we've got a lot in the pipeline for what we can be doing with and for and to our patrons. So, yeah, feel free.
Watch out.
JodoCast.com.
We're coming for you,
Or-
patrons. We got
or
your addresses.
patreon.com/the JodoCast. That's not like a /fic or Patreon/JodoCast weird thing on AO3. But I'm happy to be here, obviously. I'm not feeling too sick. Got my water instead of bourbon, so.
What's AO3?
Isn't that
Archive of Our Own.
yeah, there you go.
What's Archive of Our Own?
I'm
It's-
going to use context clues and assume it's a weird fanfic website.
It is
Where-
a fanfic repository, yes.
Sounds like
I was just
Evan's
trying to
been
figure
plugged in.
out. Leo really sounded like he was joking. I was like, okay,
It
Leo's
did sound
on
like
here
he
all the
was baiting
time.
Evan into admitting that
Yeah.
he spends time on this website.
I really didn't know what it was.
No, the last time I was writing fanfic was when fanfic.net was a thing. I don't know if it still is or not anymore because everyone uses AO3. Get back writing that fanfic, Leo.
All right. Well, I got notebooks full of My Little Pony, so I'm ready to go.
There you. Oh, great! Now I'm just going to talk about the Bob's Burger.
We're not
episode.
talking about Rule 34.
No, we're talking about.
Hey, he never said it couldn't be
Bronconius.
/fix.
Yeah, that exists too. I mean,
That's most of
anyways,
it.
anyways.
I wonder
Let's
if
do.
JodoCast is on there.
Stop. I'm gonna get a soundboard with only one sound, and it's gonna be a whip, just to get Joe to stop interrupting the flow. Where was I? Oh yeah, what you been playing, Joe? You want to talk so much? Go ahead.
I played Star Wars: The Deck Building Game.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
What?
because his store is immoral and unethical.
Yeah, I got the connections on the underground.
Well,
They
Copy
broke.
that
They
Fell
broke
off the back
Street
of the
Date.
truck.
don't
yeah.
name names.
By the way, just so listeners know, at time of recording, we are still 3 days away from the actual release date of the Star Wars The Deck Building game.
Which is not a card game.
I played one game of it and enjoyed
You
it very
won.
much, despite I was really tired. I did not win. But also,
I gotta
playing
stop
against-
asking that.
Dan, who had gotten his game a day before me and played like 2 or 3 games, and our game took almost 2 hours, which I think is the box list 30 minutes. But we also got through the whole deck. Like, so I think we were like somehow like really perfectly matched. Where like, because we got through the whole you know the deck of cards you buy. A lot of them get discarded when you bounty hunt / sabotage enemy cards. They go to a discard. But if it ever runs out, you just reshuffle them and make it again. So by the time we ended the game, there was like 6 cards left in that deck that you buy from, and they were all just either exiled or in our own decks. So it was a very long game, and I think that was probably very abnormal. But it was fun.
Or maybe you
That's-
did
Oh,
the
good.
rules wrong.
Could be.
No, you got to wait for him to put out his how to play video, and then you get to say you did all these rules wrong. You suck at this.
Well, hey, wrong rules gets more comments. That's more engagement, and the
Well, that's a
algorithm
rule.
likes
That's-
it.
That's a rule
That's
of the
true.
internet, is that you better to state the wrong answer than ask for the right one.
All right, let's go with.
Maybe I should
Kurt.
just make a whole ad-libbed how to play video. Just
That-
ad-lib the
that-
whole thing, and then in the comments, people will, tell everyone how to actually play.
Just put it into Chat GPT. Assume that it's all correct. That's what everyone does. It's very good about factual information. I'm pretty sure I hit an AI generated thing earlier when I was looking up information about Dwarf Fortress because I was like, this does not match any of the things I can do in this game. I think it was all made up AI generated just to get to the top of Google or whatever. It's very frustrating. Our society's being destroyed. And that's what I've been playing.
Wow.
Googling
Raging
Dwarf
Against the Machine.
Fortress?
Great.
Yeah, I haven't played any Star Wars stuff since last time. I've been doing some painting. I'm painting my Bosk for Legion right now. That's going good.
Yay!
I played mixing some paint for Leo. That's kind of like a Star Wars game.
What?
So.
Hold on. This sounds mundane, but this is Kurt. I don't mix different colors of paint largely.
No.
I need some.
We had to use
vortex mixer.
his vortex mixer.
Because
His little vibrator, because I had this bottle of like white airbrush primer that I bought that was like coming out of the bottle like cottage cheese. So
mixing paint the way Sherwin Williams mixes paint, not the way Bob Ross mixes paint.
Well,
yes.
Stirring paint.
It's better than the stuff being separated. So I mean, we were like mixing the components of the paint back together. That's kind of, I don't know. But yes, Leo came to my house and I vibrated his white goo and it was all good.
He was satisfied.
You really gave his cottage cheese a once over, huh?
Yeah, if you join our Patreon, you too can have your paint mixed at my house.
See,
can
you know my
worked out well. Look at
bottles?
these speeder bikes I got primed up.
Oh,
nice
wow.
and
Come on,
smooth.
focus on them, camera.
Oh, now see, if you're a patron, you can be seeing this right now.
A snow trooper on a speeder bike. I like
Yeah.
Oh.
That's good.
Is that like? Did you like mod two Legion minis together, or is that like a 3D print?
That's I think it's Darkfire Designs mini.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone local recently acquired a resin printer and has been going nuts with it. So I got some snow troopers on speeder bikes for my Blizzard Force.
Very cool. So is that what you've been playing? You've been playing Mix the Paint with Kurt?
Yeah. And I tried to get to play the deck builder also, but my store actually has
Follows
scruples.
the law.
Yeah, our local store actually has scruples and would not sell me the copy early. In fact, when I walked in the door, the very first, I didn't even say anything. The clerk, the guy behind the counter held up a box and said, "Hey, Leo, I've got this here for you, but I can't sell it to you till Friday."
Wow.
Like he knew what I was coming in to ask.
Hey, at
Did
least the shipment arrived.
Did you do the old Simpsons grandpa in the door, turn around and leave?
No, because I also put down a pre-order for Shatterpoint while I was in there. So.
You did, huh?
Yeah, support the local store. Plus, I have some gift cards for there, so there you go.
You don't need to make excuses to pre-order Shatterpoint. It looks fun.
I mean, there's nothing else you could have got?
Nope.
All right.
Like what?
I don't know. I just feel like there's some other games you could have been buying Well, you don't need any more miniatures. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, but there's not other games I really want to play that I could have got miniatures for.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook this time.
What?
Nothing.
I don't want to play those games.
Those games. Okay.
Yeah.
Those weird non-Star Wars games.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird that people play games that aren't Star Wars IP.
Yeah. I did go to my one local a store that sells like sport cards and stuff that I occasionally find Star Wars stuff. It's like CCG and TCG stuff at. I did not get anything Star Wars this time, but I did find this box. There's another Babylon 5 booster box. This time it's the Great War.
It sure is. It's very
random packs may contain cards autographed by Londo actor Peter Jurassic. So that's very exciting.
Wow.
Although I will say, I opened this whole box. That gave me a chance to get cards signed by Claudia Christensen or Claudia Christian. None. I got none. So
wow,
they're apparently pretty rare.
Apparently. Well, I spent the weekend doing a bunch of test work using first generation Army Painter speed paints on several different Star Wars Legion miniatures. I think it's my third extra Darth Vader original from the starter box, and I wanted to see what I could get out of it, and it actually turned out looking very much like my very first Darth Vader that I used regular old acrylic paints for. I had a little bit of reactivation applying some gloss, but even that didn't look bad. It came out looking really good. And used different tones of... Did I just...
Well, he's still talking in Zencaster.
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. You just got disconnected from Discord.
Wow.
Weird.
All right, well.
It looks like you were still being recorded in Zencaster, though. So
yeah. I don't think...
That makes sense.
This can easily be cut.
Or just... whatever, leave it. I'm going to edit it. Anyways, I was very surprised and happy with how it turned out using, and these are the, like I said, first generation speed paints. Speed Paint 2.0 is coming out in March, I think, March or April, where they took them back to formula and, back to formula. Come on, you know that one.
Yeah, no, I had Osborne quotes running through my head. Don't worry.
Okay, good. And they did it with the help of a bunch of YouTube painters to figure out the new colors. So I'm excited for that.
The YouTube painters were like, I'm something of a scientist myself.
That's very good. I hadn't thought of that one.
Okay, so this isn't Star Wars. It is kind of Star Wars gaming related. But I want to know, which is bigger? That Descent box I'm seeing in your background there, Evan?
Yep.
Or the collector's edition box for the Old Republic?
Old Republic? They might be the same dimensions. Old Republic might be a little taller, but not by much. They could very well be the exact same dimensions. Did you want me to go check right now?
Well, I don't think we need to interrupt the show to verify this. But, at some point, like if you're like, if you're looking at the box and it crosses your mind, check and, give us an update on a future recording.
I will do so. I will definitely do so. Okay. All right. Okay. There, man. Now I'm just thinking about box sizes now. Jeez. For this episode, we are like Leo said to date ourselves. It is the 28th of February, and it's not a leap year. So it's 2023. Surprise. We are entering March, and in less than a month, at least Joe and I, and presumably other people in the world, will converge in
cool
Schaumburg, Illinois. Say again, over?
It'd be really cool if it was just us.
I mean, for all we
know,
vendors,
you win the default. You win Legion Worlds by default just because you're the only guy. who
We
gets
win
there.
everything by default.
Yeah.
Every event, even for
Exactly.
games we haven't played.
Like, oh, you didn't buy the ticket? You didn't buy the entry ticket? Sorry. No winners. Yes, we will be at Schaumburg, Illinois for AdeptiCon. And this will be my second time going and Joe's first time going. This will also mark Joe finally getting to go to Star Wars Legion World Championships since he was supposed to go in what year?
2020. We both had our tickets to Adepticon 2020, which was in March 2020, so we all know how that turned out. So yeah, it has been 3 years.
And that's not the only Star Wars thing that we're definitely doing. There's quite a few Star Wars things, and we've got the event catalog up. We can kind of see what else they've got. But we'll also be doing some Star Wars trivia, so I hope we do the home team proud and,
Yeah, you never know.
beat everybody.
There's usually, when it comes to Star Wars trivia, I'm usually the most knowledgeable person in the room, but we're going to a convention with a bunch of nerds, so you never know. We'll see. I'll be happy to make the top 50%.
Yeah, you're better with like. It also depends on like the era of stuff they get, because like the older legend stuff, that's kind of your weak point.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I
Which is probably what they're going to talk about.
Because
I don't know. If it's the kind of person who goes to a thing like Adepticon and likes all these old games, they're probably the kind of people who hate Disney, Star Wars, and think Kathleen Kennedy's the devil.
We're doing trivia on real Star Wars, pre-special edition only.
True or false? Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired next week.
That'll be the bonus question.
True or false? Luke Skywalker was the Grand Master of the Jedi Order who banged a redhead. Is this all true or false?
That would be an amazing trivia night. All right, get ready, everybody. It's all true or false. No, all essay. All essay trivia. So yeah, without telling everyone your strategy, do we have any inclination as to what you'll be running? Do you already have your army picked out?
Yes.
Has it been tested? Have you tested against the best in the area?
Yes.
And you've lost a lot.
So here's the after being beaten by Chris so many times with Blizzard Force, I sort of gave up too much hope on doing that well, because I just can't beat the best list in the game, and they, confirmed they wouldn't be releasing any changes or nerfs to Empire Blizzard Force. So I'm like, well, if I can't beat it, I'm going to just try and find a list that I enjoy playing. And I was originally working with a Cad Bane list, because I like Cad Bane. And that morphed into a Dooku list. And then I was like, well, no, I miss Cad Bane. So then I tried making a list with Dooku and Cad Bane. And that was okay. But what I eventually landed on was a list that is Maul and Cad Bane, and I've tried it out with some local people. I've had some pretty good games. They've all been very close, so it's not like an auto win. It's not like I'm a god with this list, but I find it entertaining and fun to play. So I'm expecting to lose early games and then get paired down with other people who are like, well, let's just have fun.
And then you'll be super intense and be like, this isn't about fun anymore.
I really have no illusions of my performance anymore. But my list is, if you want to specifically build your army at Worlds to counter mine, I've still got some wiggle room with the upgrades. But it's Maul with Saber Throw, Force Push, and I can't remember what the other one was. Some other Force Power. No, Tenacity. It was Tenacity. Cad Bane with Comms Relay, which I find very important. So when he does play a card that gives him an order, he can just pass it to somebody else, chain all the droids together with their AI shenanigans, and still get his independent. Because I don't like leaving Cad Bane without his 2 dodges. So Cad Bane with Comms Relay, Up Close and Personal, and Situational Awareness. A T-Series tactical droid with Inspiring Presence, which hasn't made too much of a difference, so I might try and cut that and see what else I can use. I thought maybe with new panic rules, it would be important to get some Inspire on the board, because I'm running 2 operatives and I have a generic commander, but it hasn't seemed to make too much of a difference. I've got 2 B1s. 2 of them just have an extra B1, and the other 2 have the E5S, whatever the sniper one is, which comes in handy for getting range 4 shots. And 2 Magna Guards. The Magna Guards have an extra Magna Guard and Tenacity. I think that's it. It's 10 activations. It's very aggressive. The Magna Guards run up there. Cad Bane messes with people. Maul tends to deploy last with his divulge card and infiltrate, and try and sort of do a little bit of flanking and make them think about whether they want to worry about Maul or the rest of my army. I've given up on using Cad Bane's divulge card.
I was going to ask.
I used to use it 100% of the time because it's fun and silly. And every time I do, I spend like 30 minutes sitting there going, oh, well, I could put it here. No, but then I could put these here. And then inevitably, after I finally decide, my opponent's like, you good? I'm like, yep. And then the first thing they do, we're still in deployment, is somehow they trigger it. Like, oh, this guy's got Scout 5 and he can run up to it and flip this token in the deployment phase. Or we're playing hostage exchange and he put it on his shore troopers, who don't trigger the tokens because they're immune enemy effects. But then he puts down a mortar guy with the detachment, which then flips it over. And just everything I do with those tokens always feels like it's undermined before turn 1 even begins. And just how long it takes me to like think about it. And it's I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to not. I haven't used it like I still have the card, but I haven't had cause to use it the other way either. The one time I did, because it says place a Bane token within 1 of Bane, but outside of 1 of everybody else. So if you wait for end game, there's going to mean very little place for you to put it because Cad Bane's close to people. So I don't know.
Yeah, last game I played, even the bomb didn't end up doing anything. It triggered on the very first deployment, the very first squad, because of a scout move, like you said, but just due to lucky rolls, it did no damage. And it did do some suppression, but then Leia removed it right away. So it was like, well, was it worth doing all that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Was it worth the 15 minutes I spent like debating where to put these tokens when it didn't seem to? Sometimes it'll bother your opponent. They'll be like, oh, couldn't go there. But I feel like a lot of times they're like, oh, okay, that's the blank, that's the bomb, that's Cad Bane, done.
It's a lot of times it's pretty obvious, I think, because you're not just going to have Cad Bane deploy right in front of the army. That's going to be the bomb, right? So
yeah. And then when I try to be cheeky and then I put the bomb somewhere, I'm like, oh wait, now that's too close to my guys and it's going to hurt my guys too. And it's like, So I gave up on that. I'll just divulge Darth Maul. Oh, and Maul's Balls is the other activation, the probe droids, who are actually pretty good to have around.
I haven't actually played with them or against them yet. Do they do much more than just drop observation tokens?
That's what they do until you get pretty close, and then I usually either see if they can snag an objective or just start shooting people, because they have 2 white dice in range 2 or melee. So with an observe 3, it's better than taking an aim. And then you have 6 white dice. They can do a little bit before they get taken out. So they usually, help out when everybody's getting into position, and then they just start fighting and die. And if anything, they're just another activation.
Yeah, another cheap activation. You can throw on an objective. They can't help with the objectives until their disguise drops, but I mean, they're still...
In my last game, I used them to... Maul was in trouble, so I just moved them into engagement with another group that was about to shoot at Maul to prevent them from shooting at Maul. They were like being his little bodyguard.
We'll protect you, Master.
Hey, we just had Patron Meat Castle join us tonight. Hello. Howdy, howdy. We're talking about how Joe is gonna smash everybody else at Adepticon.
I am happy with the list. It does feel very
very Joe.
Yeah, it's very my play style, and it's something I don't expect to see other people running. And I don't think it sucks. It's definitely not the best, but I'm happy with where it's at. I love Magna Guards. They're some of my favorite units in the game.
They're so bad.
They can really get up and wreck stuff.
Yeah.
Way more than like Royal Guard or whatever, right?
Yeah, they do a lot of work.
All right. So we know how you're going to win. I did say that there was a lot of other Star Wars events going on.
Well, real quick, can we talk the schedule for Legion too?
Yes.
So,
all means.
Tell me, because I haven't looked into it.
It's like, well, according to this,
don't worry, I put it on the calendar for you.
Yeah, it's on the Friday of Adepticon, which is the 24th. This says it starts at 8 a.m., which sounds awful.
I'm gonna feel like
I'm just gonna
be
get
miserable.
Drunk.
Yeah,
just waking up and playing games for that long is so tiring.
Yes, it is. That's why I don't hardly ever do these kinds of events.
Now it's 3 Swiss rounds and then a cut to top 64, which is over half the people playing currently, because it's a max 128 and it's not currently full, at least on the website. So it feels like you might have a pretty good chance of getting it into day 2. I gotta say, the three Swiss rounds in a day is less than I would expect. Like some of these worlds, it's like 4 or 5, and that is absolutely grueling. So 3 is not too bad.
Well, I think that's also because a lot of times they're doing a smaller top cut to start with.
Mm-hmm,
when you're cutting the top 64, you don't need as many Swiss rounds. So
yeah, which is good, because 3 is, I mean, that's already pushing. I usually skip local tournaments. I like leagues, because a Legion tournament just takes too much out of me in a day. It's weird. You're just sitting around. You're just standing there, hunched over a table. I don't know why it's so exhausting, but it is.
Oh, it is. It's mentally taxing, and it beats up your body.
Yeah, like you said, it's mentally taxing. Plus, it's not that you're just standing there. It's that you're like hunching over a table for 10 hours straight.
Yeah, that's exhausting. Leaning over and grabbing and stuff.
Usually by the time we get to like the last game of a tournament day, I'm like, I no longer am standing at the table. I sit down, and unless I'm playing to win something, I'm probably like sitting down and only half paying attention to what my opponent's even doing during his turns.
But now day 2 is when it's going to get crazy for some people. So it's another 3 Swiss rounds. If I'm reading this right, it's another 3 Swiss rounds with the top 64, then a cut to top 8, and then like the top 4, semifinals and finals, whatever. So like for people who are doing good, that is going to be insane.
When are the finals?
The finals the third
Sunday?
day?
It must be. Armada, Legion.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Legion Day
Doubles.
3. Yeah, you're right. So top
there it
4 is on Sunday. So there's
I
2
fly
rounds
out
on
on
Sunday.
Sunday. So if I do good, I've got to change my flights. I, spoiler, did not expect to make the top cut and booked my flights on Sunday.
But I hope you're planning to make it into day 2 at least.
Hopefully. But if I don't, there is other stuff we can do. Although I don't know how many of them will be like, sorry, you should have signed up 2 months ago sort of thing. Because I didn't sign up for much.
I never do. And then I'm just left with, what is there? Except for this past Gen Con when I spent my entire time pretty much at those painting competitions. But speaking of painting, there's tons and tons of painting seminars, and they are completely full up. I don't think there's any that are still available, but that's okay.
The things, even if I didn't, or we're not participating, there are still things I want to like poke my head in and like be like, I don't know if I want to like stick a microphone in someone's face and be like, tell me why you're playing this and how does it make you feel as a Star Wars gamer. But because there's some special events put on this. It looks like there's some narrative Legion things, some narrative Armada things.
There are a bunch of Legion events with all different titles: Dynamic Exit, Unnatural Resources, Ghost of Onyx.
Open
and there's
play.
A lot of open play. There's a lot of open play ones. There's a lot of X-Wing things if you wanted to try your hand with the Battle of Yavin box or the Battle of Siege of Coruscant box. There's a bunch of Armada events, but they all look like the same thing over and over again. The Summa of all things.
Whatever the Summa is. Summa some kind of Star Wars planet that because they're making a pun?
Must be.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be something like that.
I mean, it sounds like a fun mission. You're like picking up coaxium. It's also only 200 point fleets. That's kind of interesting. No large ships. Well, that sounds kind of nice though. Could be neat. I don't know that they needed that many of the. Well, I mean, a lot of these have people signed up for them, so I guess there's people playing in a lot of them.
I definitely want to stop by the Imperial Assault. IACP Championship.
It's on Saturday. It looks like.
Yes.
If I don't make the cut, then I can just sit there. We could record the finals or something if they're not already doing that. I was surprised, unless it's been added since I last looked, there was no Star Wars miniatures game thing. Because maybe it was Gen Con, but I feel like in past years I've seen people putting on like huge like Hoth scenarios with like 6 AT-ATs and stuff. Maybe that's a Gen Con thing. I don't know.
I've seen that stuff like that at Gen Con. I think
that is much more of a Gen Con thing than a AdeptiCon thing.
AdeptiCon's a little bit more. I think they might consider the Star Wars minis game too casual.
Okay.
But then they've got demos. I don't know if it's even demos or competitions. I clicked away from it because I don't know how to arrange my tabs. But Alex Davies' latest venture, Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught. I don't know if he will be there. Yeah, I mean, I've got the box, but I don't have anyone to roped into playing it with me. So maybe if Alex is there, we can talk to him a few times. Like, tell us about this new game you got.
If you want,
I forget. Did they say there's going to be demos at Adepticon for the deck building?
Of Shatterpoint?
Yeah, or Shatterpoint. Yeah,
Shatterpoint.
Yes, that is a thing.
That's besides Worlds, that is our number one priority as serious journalists, is to get our hands on Shatterpoint and tell you all what we think and record gameplay of it and see if we can interview the developers or whatever. That's Shatterpoint is a top priority for us at Adepticon.
Yeah, that's right. I was getting confused with Celebration. They had said they had talked about how they're not going to be at Celebration, but it's not Adepticon.
Yeah, it's a heck of a Celebration. And I feel like this is the first big demo of a Star Wars game since all those Destiny demos that we did at the previous RIP FFG SW
I
World
mean,
Champs.
well, what about was Destiny before? No, because Destiny was before Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they had big Legion demos all over the place at Gen Con and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I mean, that's like where it was, because remember, they had like a Tatooine table, and they had like a Hoth table, or I mean, an Endor table, and they did demos and stuff.
But it wasn't. I mean, Legion was already out because we were waiting in line for Lando Han, wasn't it?
No. They had those tables before the game came out. They were doing like.
Oh well, I never saw any.
Yeah. Well, they were that. Maybe you must have been paying attention at Gen Con that year,
or at Worlds when they were doing the Destiny demos. I think that was the same year they had a Legion table up. I don't think they were doing hands-on demos, but they had a table with like a crashed snow speeder and all this stuff set up.
Because because half of that was like, and it was kind
of like an ice mountain sort of.
Yeah, it was like the two of their Hoth demo tables put together to make one 3x6 table.
Well, SharePoint demo.
I'm not sure I'm trusting your man.
Evan and I are going to be all over it, and I'm curious if you need to like sign up or if it's just going to be first come first serve, get in a line.
I mean, I don't see any events for it like on the schedule, so I assume it'll be walk up.
Yeah.
But there could be like a sign up sheet or something if they're like, this is too popular, register your slot.
Probably
outside of the website. But yeah, hopefully you guys get in and get the scoop.
That's the plan.
We'll
see. They might turn us away. They'd be like, ugh, you guys.
There are actual slots devoted to Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught, but and like learn to play sessions. But I don't see any time slots for Shatterpoint.
Yeah.
And I know that Mantic Games will also be there with demos of their games, and I don't see their any like reserved slots for those either. So who knows?
Would, if there's time and we have nothing to do and there's slots for it, play. I know there's signups for Zombicide, Undead or Alive.
Oh.
Which I've been sitting painting for, I don't know, a month at least already, because I got that. But I haven't played it yet, so I'm like, well, if that's my chance to actually play it with people, that would be fun.
It looks like those are Thursday and Friday, and they are full. But
yes, guess not.
But who knows? People could drop, or
it
could be fun to watch still.
There are wait lists for some things, at least. Like I'm looking at all the painting seminars that I missed out on, and there are wait lists. Oh, Vincent Venturella is going to be one of the seminarians.
Yeah, he's becoming a priest.
He actually the picture that he has, he looks like he could be a pastor for sure. One of the other things that I'm doing that's not Star Wars is the Warhammer preview Wednesday night, where we get to sit around and see previews for things that probably won't be out for a few weeks, but that's okay. It'll be fun. What other Star Wars
trivia has a sign up too, so I hope you guys actually signed up.
There's
also Warhammer trivia and Marvel trivia.
Signed up for trivia a long time ago. We're good.
Yes. So we got that.
A few role-playing game events.
Say again?
There's a few role-playing game events.
Oh, really?
These are mostly games I don't really No, but there's Age of Sigmar, Heroes of the Hinterlands.
Under RPG?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Pirate Borg.
There's
I
Call
don't
of
know.
Cthulhu.
There's a lot of different stuff. And you said painting events too. Were there any specific hobby seminars that you're really looking forward to, Evan?
Well, there certainly are some that sound good.
Saturated unicorn farts.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Hey, there's one all about Leo's favorite, object source lighting. I cannot look at any OSL without just thinking, it's too much. It's too much. It's just too much tuna.
It usually is.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Golden Demon, the big painting competition for Games Workshop, is once again being held here at AdeptiCon. So, at the very least, I'll get to show Joe some of the amazing dioramas and mind-blowing paint jobs that people do. And people are like still putting their finishing touches on them. A lot of the hashtag Warhammer community folks on Twitter like are building their set pieces, not just working on their miniatures, or maybe they'll have one piece that they've spent months on, and it's wild. And I know that Mantic will also be doing a painting competition, and I think, if I'm not too mistaken, so is AMG. They're doing their, what is it, The Worthy?
Oh, for Crisis Protocol?
Yeah.
Yes. My Marvel Crisis Protocol themed painting competition. Can receive a bronze, silver, gold coin for their efforts. The chosen are then judged amongst each other. Okay.
Coins.
I guess I haven't really looked at that. I just saw that was a thing going on. But yeah, if we're bound to see some cool Marvel Crisis Protocol pieces, dioramas, big battle explosion-y things with lots of homemade special effects. So you're gonna get beat over the head with the amount of amazing art going on at this one. Like after having been here last year and then going to Gen Con, I was disappointed by how little there was at Gen Con. This is just wall-to-wall art people who like bring their whole shebang with them. And like there's going to be at least one guy with his air compressor who's like, anybody need their stuff primed? And he'll go on, he'll prime it and bring it back in, and you'll see people like, I'm just going off on tangent now, but there was one night, I think I told this story. Sugi and I are walking back to the hotel, and this guy has got like this armload of gray plastic tanks. And he's like, any of you guys got a primer or air compressor? Like, dude, are you trying to get your army painted up for tomorrow? It's like, good luck with that, guy. But yeah, like,
I'm picturing like a group of like Leo looking people just sitting there licking their brushes, like all bet like holier than thou style, like yeah, good vintage bristles. This is from you can taste the horsehair in this one.
Like, this one's pheasant. What is it? It's
breaking open an old like 90s bottle of Citadel color with like the hexagon base.
Yeah.
Like, been saving this one.
Or they're like supping out of their
I finally
red cup,
threw away my hexagon bottles of what the heck was it called? Bolt gun metal or bolt gun silver or whatever.
I still have one old bottle that's still good.
They finally just, which I really prefer to I really preferred it to whatever their like their bolt gun color is now
Lead
called.
Belcher?
Yeah, I preferred the old one to Lead Belcher. But they finally they both turned to just pure goop.
You didn't take it to Kurt's
Sad.
house?
No,
Good
there
mixing.
was no saving this goop.
Oh, okay. Well,
It was like the consistency of like kindergarten paste. Like the glue you would have in the big
with
jar, and
the
you'd
thing, you
scoop
pull
it
it
out with like a popsicle stick kind of things.
Yeah.
Like that was the consistency of the paint, and I was finally like, okay, time to get rid of these guys.
Yeah, mixer won't come back from that.
Oh, could at least have kept the bottle and just filled it up with
Tequila.
Tequila. Yeah,
Like a little shot.
it's like when I went to the local Mexican restaurant for Cinco de Mayo, and they were just passing out free tequila in these little clay shot glass. Like, oh, that's cool. Then I look at the bottom of the shot glass, it's like not for human consumption. It's like, oh boy, I don't know what that's about.
The tequila disinfected it.
Exactly.
But in all seriousness, how do y'all keep your points on your brushes if you're not licking them? That's
you beat the devil out of it, Bob Ross style,
Yep.
and then
you
you twirl it on the paper towel.
Use a special Games Workshop branded paint
He gets it.
jar, and if you use it, then you paint better. It's got the little channels on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually after, I will admit, like 1 out of 100 times I do lick it. But I usually just, when I dry it on the thing, I sort of twist it and drag it.
You give it the twist and drag.
And also, I gave up a long time ago on maintaining my brushes because I just couldn't do it. And I have a couple nice brushes that I use when I need more detail and I care more. But most of the time, I have this pack of I don't know, it's like a 50 pack on Amazon for like $8. Some brand called One Happy Choice, and they hold
that sounds either like a Chinese restaurant or a massage parlor.
They hold their shape decently enough that I just use them, and when it gets too far gone, I throw it away and pull another one out of the bag.
I will admit the only brush I really bother taking care of that I have right now is my Army Painter Regiment brush. I really like that brush.
Yes.
But otherwise, all my other brushes are just like, well, I mean, there's a couple other ones. Like I have like this really dumb, insane detail brush that's like essentially like one brush hair.
Yes, I know it well,
and it's ridiculous. Like half the time the paint dries it has so little paint on it, or it can hold so little paint that by the time you get from your palette to your mini, the paint on the brush is already dried and won't come off the brush. So
and has probably been soaked up into the ferrule, even though it was pointed down. It just slithered its way up.
Yeah, I have that speed paint set you got me, Evan, came with a brush, and I've been too afraid to use it. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I don't want to mess it up because I have a Citadel brush, and I typically don't like the Citadel brushes, but I've had one for a long time, and it's sort of stayed okay. So when I need something slightly better than these cheapo Amazon brushes, I'll switch to that one.
I will say my favorite brush for applying single coat paint solutions is the Army Painter's Wargamer Monster Brush. I have several of these, and these suckers last so well. And I do wash them with Masters, but that's...
Yeah.
Now see...
that was too much work for me. I bought some of that a long time ago, and it just didn't help my brushes. I'm I'm doing everything everyone online is saying how to use this stuff.
Actually, that's the other thing that I wanted to mention, is it's not just going to be wall-to-wall artists, but you're going to find a whole bunch of other companies that are going to be selling stuff there that they probably wouldn't sell as much of if they went to Gen Con. So Game Envy. I've bought a bunch of their stuff that are just little
Ooh,
things to.
Maybe I can get those wet palette corner weights that
Yeah.
we were looking at today.
You can get
Wait,
that.
wait. Those are like an actual thing. Not just
that was
something
that was like a fancy extra for that Kickstarter I posted of like the pop-up water thing.
Oh, I didn't actually look at that link you had posted, so that's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
They-
fancy collapsible water cup with a
Yeah.
special shape and a
I-
weird thing you can put in the bottom with little fingers that cleans your brush.
I bought that cup there last year because it is collapsible and it's really nice. So that's what I'll be bringing with me for my water cup. Because of course I'll be bringing my painting stuff. And
I don't know if I suppose I should think about that because that's something I have to consider is how to transport an entire Legion army.
you worry about that. I'll worry about paints.
Just
Okay.
don't transport him like the guy on my plane to Gen Con.
Yeah, don't
So
be that
cold
guy.
and loose in his arms or what?
It's been what, like five years, and I still got to tell this story all the time.
Yeah,
because
it's a good story.
Well, no, it's not. It's a terrible, sad, awful story.
Tragedy.
But no, the guy we were deplaning in Chicago, or not in Chicago, in
Indy. Yeah.
Indianapolis for Gen Con, and a guy he was like just one or two seats in front of me. He had his Tupperware, like a Tupperware thing full of minis, and as he was standing up, and he was like, he carried them on his lap like the whole flight,
Like a baby, as you do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and then as he was standing up and getting out of his seat, he bumped him on something, or they got caught on another person trying to get off the plane. I don't remember what, but the whole thing flew out of his hands, and minis just went flying everywhere in the plane.
Jeez.
And
it was
eh.
like the hubcap scene from Christmas Story.
More gruesome.
Oh,
More gruesome. Because because you just saw, like, he was crawling around picking him up, and like, there was ones, they were snapped off bases and pieces broken off and stuff like that, and I just felt really, really, really bad for that guy.
oh, there goes my light.
Is
Did
it,
you help
like,
the guy?
motion activated?
No, I had to get off the plane. You were waiting for me.
And that guy is still there to this day.
So
So, Evan, we've talked a lot about...
plane. Yeah, you just find this guy. He's permanently a fixture of that plane now, crawling around.
He can't. There's that
there's
one
another
mini
spear
he's
here.
still missing.
Yeah.
I gotta figure it out because mine are magnetized, so I might try and I've got some large lunch boxes that I might try and fit them in, but I gotta see because it's probably a bad idea to put him in my checked bag.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, unless
Sounds
you're
awful.
unless you're putting them like in like some kind of battle foam or something like
Right.
that. I don't.
Mhm.
See,
I don't
like
think
what
I-
I would do is keep them in because the way they currently live is they're in my Legion core boxes that have some steel glued to the bottom and they're magnetized to that. So I would put them in there and then maybe sprinkle the whole thing with foam or packing peanuts or something. But I don't know because then I'd be afraid that some sharp bit would get stuck in one of those and snap as I pulled all the foam out.
It sounds awful. I don't
Yeah.
envy
I
having
think I'll
to
have to
take your army.
Yeah, I'll have to just Evan. I'll tell you
Oh, no.
exactly what I
Yes,
have, and you.
I know where
prepare
you're
it.
going. Yes.
You're driving, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. See there. I'll just tell you exactly what I need, and you paint it before I get there.
I was just thinking that you beat me to it.
And
Well, I
that's exactly why I did not participate in Legion tournament when I went to Gen Con that year, because I was like, I almost did, but then I was all like, I don't really want to fuck around with carrying an army on the plane.
Sounds like too much trouble.
Sounds
But-
very stressful.
Are you taking an army for any tournaments or anything, Evan? Or are you just going for like the side events and
The
painting
culture.
seminars and stuff?
Yeah, the culture. I will.
The food.
Oh, absolutely the food. I will definitely bring at least one army to for Legion, and if not two.
Ooh, we can play each other.
Yeah, I mean they got those open tables, and they'll have open tables at our hotel as well. So you can get some fun games in before you have to buckle down.
Yeah, build my
And
confidence up playing you.
absolutely.
That's sort of mean to just like automatically assume you're going to win against Evan.
Everyone always beats me.
Evan, how many full games of Legion have you played in the last year?
In the last year?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say ever. I can count that number.
Ever.
Ever. At least 5.
Is my assumption that I might win a little bit less mean now?
I mean, I think the assumption is you know the rules better than I do. If nothing else, you could just tell me.
It'll probably be like a... My hope is that it'll be a convince Evan to play more Legion kind of experience rather than a prep for Worlds kind of experience.
Yes, but at the very least, I will do everything I can to get you mentally prepared. I will probably also bring at least two kill teams and 2 Warcry warbands. Because people from my Warhammer Discord will be showing up too, and there will be smaller, non-ultra competitive. I think they actually just call them narrative events for Kill Team and Warcry. Yeah, I'll probably do that.
That sounds fun.
First and foremost, Evan is my whatever the boxing guy who like ices your cuts is called and like gives you advice. That's and my videographer.
Exactly. That's what I'll be doing. And I tried to supply you with rations when you were doing all those day-long demos. So I'll pat your forehead with my handkerchief, and if your eye starts to swell, I'll cut it open. Don't worry.
And you can always just walk by, look at the other guy's stuff, and like kind of wince and go, "Ooh." Get in their heads.
Yep.
My only hope is that we win the psychological game against them.
I always go for the moral victory.
Oh,
whatever game I'm playing, moral victory. Nope, I got this on lock. Or
we can't have a moral victory if we like psychologically abuse our the opponents.
Unless we find out they're dicks.
Yeah, if they're a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, we just have to quiz them on like morality questions until we find one that we exceed at above them, and then we go, "Ha! Gotcha! I am righteous, and you are not."
Ask them if they would sell the Star Wars deck building game before the street date. There's a morality question for you.
Here's my suggestion for your dirty trick to win that will still leave you feeling morally clean, is to ask your opponent what they think about The Last Jedi, and then they'll go on a rant for 2 hours, and you can be ahead by 1 point or whatever.
Yeah, they'll run their time over ranting. I don't think I could handle that, though. I don't have the.
But you'll feel good about getting a technical victory against them. So
no, they'll just get called for delay of game by the judge. You should just be like, "Judge, he's delaying the game." And I have to try to, maybe if there's one competition that I might do, it might be Kings of War.
Whoa.
That is, and it's because that competitive scene is actually super friendly, and it's not high stakes really. It's not high stakes at all. It's literally just we want to play a game that's fun and someone's
Sounds like
gonna
a bunch
win.
sounds like a bunch of monarchists.
Oh, because it's King's War, and it's from England, so you might be right.
It's
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's also easy to transport because they're all multi-based. They don't have to be, but the majority of my armies are the individual figures glued to the movement tray.
interesting.
Yeah.
So there's no rune. What's the
Rune
game?
Wars? How dare you? How dare you mock my love of Rune Wars?
I'm looking
No,
through the
there
events
is
still.
not.
There's a lot of event. There's like a Wingspan tournament and a Ticket to
Wait,
Ride tournament.
Oh,
What?
Wingspan.
Are you
That
serious?
Wingspan is a very popular game. I thought you meant Tail Feathers, a game that's on my shelf that I think is super good, but nobody else did. It's from the guy who made Tail Feathers. Is from the guy who made Mice and Mystics. It's in the same universe, but it's basically X-wing. But if instead of starships, you were little mice riding on the backs of birds,
Wow.
and it has.
Aw.
You have to like tilt your bird left, right, or straight, and that determines how like you're banking and stuff. And you got to go raid the other nest and get there. You got little archers sitting on the trees shooting at the birds. It's a cool
Okay,
game
I do not see a Tail Feathers tournament.
There's also no attack wing.
There
Damn it.
are Snapships Tactics demos. Now that I would try out.
Ooh, that's
It's
on
the one where
Kickstarter
you
right now, right?
yeah, you get to like build your own ships and then basically play X-Wing with them. Sounds cool.
Yeah, like X-wing. If every
Like
upgrade card you
Legos.
added changed the mini.
Yeah. Like build a cool Lego ship and play a game with it. That sounds cool.
Why doesn't Lego have a miniatures game?
Seriously. Yeah.
Because it
I
hasn't
always-
been invented yet.
Like, if I had enough money, I would want to just play a full game of Legion with Legos.
Okay.
That's probably why it'd be more expensive than any other miniatures game.
Question for you, Joe. Do you like Japanese food?
No to indifferent. I don't know. I guess I haven't eaten too much Japanese food.
Okay. Well, there is a Japanese supermarket that has a food court, and it has its own little bookstore that sells English and Japanese manga. And you can just go up to a ramen stand and get fresh ramen. Or
Ramen is good. Ramen.
Ton- yeah.
I mean, I like noodles. I was thinking more like sushi. I'm not that into sushi.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, you can get all the hot food, like fresh off the griddle at this place.
According to Joe, Japanese people only eat sushi.
Sushi. I mean, you know,
And manga.
how often did we... I mean, look at Splinter. How did Splinter manage to always have sushi on hand? Whenever the boys had pizza, he was eating sushi. That's just how it went. I guess they do live in New York, so it's not that hard to get sushi all the time.
There's fish in the sewers.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's like alligators in the sewers, there's definitely fish down there too.
Yeah,
they
but they're
chopped
probably...
up and ate Man Ray or whatever he was called.
I was gonna say he's probably mutated fish.
He's like making like frog sushi and like
Oh,
or he's making sushi out of like other rats he catches down there.
oh my god!
Cannibal sushi.
He's Splinter's a Skaven now. That's rad. All right.
The Japanese food sounds good, Evan, but I assumed you would be wanting to get some Chicago-style deep dish.
Oh, that I would say absolutely.
What did you just say, Joe?
First of all, pizza is the best food.
Yeah.
Second of all, I have a tenuous relationship with cheese.
Well, I understand.
So
this.
if you say, "Hey, let's take pizza," but like make it into like a lasagna or like a soup, I think maybe that's a little too far.
Lasagna pizza.
Hey, we have a place here that does a lasagna pizza,
Wow.
and it's not deep dish.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, I can get Lou Malnati's here to go, but if I can talk you into Lou Malnati's there, I'll get the deep dish. You can get a thin crust. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay.
Next
question. Have you ever been to a Kuma's Corner hamburger place?
Nope.
I know you like hamburgers.
Do you?
Do you?
I typically only eat burgers if they're like, someone's dad is making it, because those are really good. But if I'm at like a restaurant, I'll find some kind of like turkey or chicken or pizza or something. This is like a pizza burger. Pizza burgers are good.
Deep dish.
I'm the wrong person to ask about food.
I know. That's why I'm like, hey, hamburgers.
It's trying to open your horizons.
Anyways, Kuma Burger is amazing.
We can make our content production priorities Legion, Shatterpoint, and just like Joe Mukbang or whatever. That's what they call it when you like just grossly eat food for YouTube.
What?
I think that's a genre of YouTube video where people just eat food. People want to watch.
We need to halt this conversation because the McElroy brothers were talking about mukbang and how it's disgusting, and people were like, "How dare you talk so badly about a Korean tradition?"
That's a Korean tradition. I don't know anything about it except it's a big, gross thing on YouTube. And there's one particular person I just see that comes up because he was like a very skinny guy like 5 years ago, and now he's just not doing so good. And he just films himself eating like 10, fast food burgers at a time. It's weird, but gets the views, so we can do it for AdeptiCon.
All right.
But just put minis on top of them.
Wow. You've really managed to derail this.
Hey, you brought food into it.
Yeah, good food. And not like
all I know.
Hey, put your burger up to the mic so you can hear.
Oh God, stop.
Listen to this Lou Malnati's that I'm going to crunch into.
Oh, yeah.
Crunch. This crunchy bun. Got a shell.
I was going to say, we'll go to the dim sum place that is amazing. And you can get all the like barbecue pork dumplings that you can possibly eat.
Okay. I don't also do well with things where it's like, here's a set amount of money, eat as much as you want. I'm like, well, I'm not going to eat that much.
And Leo's just like, why not? Why wouldn't you eat that much? You've paid for it.
I don't need to spend the rest of my night in the bathroom.
Like when we went to that all-you-can-eat sushi place when we were in Chicago.
Yep.
Well, actually, I should say you guys all just ordered the
single plates.
Single plates. I was like, no, I'm going to pay for the all-you-can-eat. And, yeah, well, I got my money's worth.
You did. You ate all that you could.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that episode of Simpsons. So yeah, and they will have, at least last time, they had little food stands set up in the hallway at the convention center, and they were overpriced. But if you're in the middle of a day-long tournament and you might be at another day-long tournament the next day, $10 for a freshly made bowl of like Mexican rice taco bowl thing. It's not the worst thing.
But Joe has a special assistant who can run and get him food and feed it to him while he's playing.
And hold the bowl under my mouth and chopstick the ramen into my mouth.
That's exactly what I was picturing. Because I'm not going to use a fork. You're not a baby. I'm going to use chopsticks. Trying to think what else I ate. I ate a lot of dim sum there last time. We went there several times. Oh, and not Palermo's, not Pompeii's, although those all sound like they could be places in Chicago. Portillo's. You like hot dogs, right?
As long as they're not Chicago-style ones.
No, we're not going to do that to them. No tomatoes and peppers or whatever.
I'm not a big hot dogger. Hot
All
dogs
right.
are kinda weird. Although I should. Apparently, the one staple of Tucson is a Sonoran dog, which I haven't bothered with because I don't eat hot dogs.
Okay, so we're narrowing down the things that Joe
I'll eat
does
whatever.
eat.
Just take me someplace and I'll find something to eat.
All right. I guess we'll just go to the mall again then.
What's on a Sonoran dog?
Senora.
I don't
just
know,
searching that.
Cactus or something?
Going to TucsonFoodie.com
Look,
to
wow.
find the answers.
Look, the only kind of hot dogs I have is a regular ass hot dog with like some ketchup and mustard on it. Maybe a little bit of sauerkraut. That's it.
Oh, I do like a good Wurst.
Well, I mean,
Kraut.
a Wurst or a hot dog, whatever.
All right.
Or a chili dog, which is, chili, cheddar cheese,
Dog.
mustard, dog.
Chipolone style with cheese melted onto the bread, 2 tortillas with a roasted green chili stuffed with carne asada, mushrooms, and melty cheese. That looks pretty good. It's like Taco Bell style hot dog. I don't know.
Okay.
More authentic than Taco Bell, but those look pretty good. I would eat those. This got pico de gallo on it.
What does the hot dog add to it? You're completely overshadowing the hot dog with all this other shit. And in fact, most of the other stuff is way better than a hot dog.
I
So
can't
you're-
even
that's a-
see a
so you're-
dog on any
So
of
you're
these.
bringing
Yeah.
all those other ingredients down by including the hot dog.
I can't even see the dog on any of these pictures. It looks more like a hot dog bun filled with taco.
According
toppings.
to Gavin, our other groomsman that Leo met, there's a super 100% authentic Mexican place on the south side of Indianapolis where you're like, I want 2 tacos, and you have to say like no hot dog because you'll get a hot dog in your taco.
That sounds like a weird.
And they do it anyways. Like, of course,
Wait,
it's a
so
hot
even
dog.
if you specifically
joke.
request no hot dog in your taco, they will put a hot dog in your taco because that is the most authentically Mexican way to make a taco.
I think
according
that's
to
a
this
thing they
place.
just do. I think that's
They're
a thing
making
that
fun
they
of
just
white
do to
people.
mess with the white people. Yeah,
I think
was gonna
it's
say.
probably
Yeah.
true, actually. That was my first thought.
So the authenticity of the place is just that they treat the white
Mess
customers
with white
like
people.
they're goobers.
Yep. I think that's true.
Getting food domed at a restaurant.
And actually, I got to see if there's anything to eat at our
When you like
hotel.
that fucking hot dog, dumb piece
No
of
hot
shit.
dog.
Here's,
Just
a, here's
hot
your
dog.
taco. Just a hard shell taco with a underboiled hot dog in it. With a little bit of shredded cheese. You like that?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think I've derailed the conversation. Did you see any other? Actually, yeah. From here on out, if anyone listening or anyone else on the show is checking out the event catalog for AdeptiCon, you're like, ooh, I really want you to tell us what this Star Wars Legion Ghost of Onyx Galactic Civil War event was, or find out what the summa of all things was.
Well, the sum of all things is that's the Armada event kit thing that they put out a while
Yeah,
ago.
that one's from Atomic Mass Games, isn't it?
Yeah, that
But
the
what's
What
the
does it
summa?
mean?
What's
the
summa?
the summa. It's the summa something. It's the big monster from Solo.
Oh,
You're
the dumb thing
right.
that's
Summa Verminoth.
Yeah,
Genetic
there we
space ring
go.
species that dwelled in the Acades maelstrom. You're right.
Okay, well, see, that's
And
why
it
we
was
keep you around.
it was maelstrom themed because it was
Good
about
thing
like
we
picking
have
up coaxium pods.
Solo, a Star Wars story super fan, Leo, here to tell us these things.
I should have known that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it seems like Armada's got a pretty good amount of representation. So
Hey, speaking of game representation, those X-wing prizes are
ah,
awesome.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about
I
that.
want
You
'em.
need to do a heist and steal some.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Or an armed robbery. Not as cool as a heist, but
You need to get someone else
I'll
at
do
trivia to bet their X-wing templates, and then you stomp them. You do like a ringer thing on them, and you win
Yeah.
their templates.
Yeah, I gotta say the Armada prizes are pretty boring. You
Yeah.
know, there's what we've seen for Legion prizes is not very exciting, but the article they put out also pointed out that these are prizes that everybody's gonna get for Legion. So we haven't seen any prizes that they might be giving out to the top 64, top 16, et cetera, et cetera.
Really?
So there's a possibility Legion prizes are going to be as awesome as X-Wing prizes, but yeah, like they're really cool. Like all the Spectre characters get themed dials, and there's
movement templates.
yeah, Spectre movement templates, and it's just really cool themed set of prizes.
I didn't see it at first because the Legion Adepticon prizes were not listed under the Legion transmissions. They were actually under the Star Wars transmissions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
We don't go to the ANG website looking for logic or consistency.
If you want to find these articles, it's actually, no joke, probably easier to come to our Discord and go to the Gaming News channel and just scroll through it. Yeah, I was going to say, because X-Wing, they got all these fancy versions of the tools you use to play the game, so I wonder if Legion, if they would ever do like movement tools as a prize, because they're a little bit different, because in Legion they're not just cardboard, because usually the cardboard elements are the things that get upgraded into fancy acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, because you couldn't make an acrylic Legion movement tool, but my guess is it'll probably be dice, because it's been a long time since they've done dice. Hopefully a full set, because they never actually did a full set of Legion dice, because I think that they did the red dice, and then for another season they did the white dice, and then AMG took over and everything. All the prize support sort of like got lost in the shuffle. So there's never been official black dice for Legion. So hopefully they just make like a full set. But I don't know. My guess is it'll be dice.
They should also do like silhouettes, like acrylic silhouette things.
Oh yeah, that's something I should probably.
That'd be nice.
I might just like print out a paper one and be like, "Hey, this is the official thing they provide you with." So
yeah, I mean, isn't
also
that their intention?
I'll also assume that my opponent will have one, and that it's legal, because I don't know, because the dimensions aren't super clear. Well, they were made clear on a forum.
Okay.
Well, I hope the tournament is good. I hope you win. I hope the tables are good. That's a lot of train to set up.
If I win, then I've got to cancel my flight, and that's going to be a pain.
If I'm not too mistaken,
Evan's going to have to drive me home.
I thought about that when you brought that up. I could work on the road, I suppose. The tables, if it's like last year, a lot of them will be curated, like the building of the tables will be done by 5th Trooper.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, it's the same guys because a lot like the same guys who are going to be TOing here are the same ones who usually TO at LVO and all those places, and so they usually end up sourcing a lot of the same terrain from one to the next.
So it will be very cool to see. I tried to get some good pictures last year, but I don't know. It was I don't know. I was busy doing stuff. Yeah, it'll be very cool. We're gonna try to have a lot to put out, in between Joe stomping people.
Yeah, we're gonna bring our cameras and bring lots of batteries and bring lots of memory cards and that sort of thing. And maybe in the evenings we'll record some gameplays of the deck building game with each other or something.
Ooh.
So I'll bring mine, unless you bring yours.
My what?
Your deck building game.
No.
You're not buying it?
I can't guarantee that I'll have it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will bring
I
mine.
can't make
and
that
I'll
kind
bring,
of promise.
See, you should bring the Sarlacc Pit whatever vintage game and play that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's already beat up, so I can just shove it in my luggage. It doesn't matter.
Oh. I'm just looking at the amenities at our hotel now. I'm looking for more food. All right.
Hot tub stream, JodoCast hot tub stream.
I mean, yeah, I can make that happen, I suppose. We'll try to
cover
paint
every gross
paint
trend of algorithm.
the hot
bait.
tub.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
what
how
does the heat and humidity do for your paints?
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
yeah, and you just dip your brush in and wash it off in the
beat the devil out of it in the hot tub.
The hot tub is the paint mug or the water jar.
We've filled this hot tub with Apothecary White. That's why it looks that color. And we're just going to dip them in. Sounds great.
I will say, make sure you pack some cold weather appropriate clothing, because it got cold last time at the end of March.
Yeah, Mr. Right. Arizona.
Yeah, no more tank tops for you, young man.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. I think it's too late to get a custom T-shirt by the time I go there.
Next time.
I kind of just want to make a Legion Quick Guide shirt with the QR code on the back is what I wanted. I can wear it like a cheap.
Can come up to you and scan your back.
Yeah, and then go to my website and give me money. I'll get like a cheese board. Is that what it's called? Where they got the cardboard on the front and the back, like Enders Nye style. Yes. Yeah, sandwich board.
like Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A cheese board would work though if you're walking around with like charcuterie and you're like, hey, come to my website, have some cheese.
Yeah, we got lots of cheese.
I could have the cubed cheese make the QR code, and then when someone picks one, I'll just replace it.
Yeah. Next thing I know, you're gonna have the QR code on the toothpick.
Every piece of cheese is printed with the QR code. You scan it before you eat your little
3D
cube.
printed the cheese. He's a cheese 3D printer.
No, it's just hand painted on.
Oh, okay.
With
I suppose I got to do that too.
Some Citadel color. Yeah.
Now then, Leo will just try to eat it all. He loves that paint. Whoa, what are you talking about? He's like, I've had enough of this. Let's get out of here. Good call, Leo. I've had enough of this too. All right. With that, thank you, Leo. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, listeners, one and all. We will talk with you next time, but in the meantime, come to the Discord, find the link, jodocast.com, join the conversation, follow our travails through the state of Illinois. Pretty much just one square block. That's pretty much all it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right, until then, good night and good luck.